This is the Wrestling Replay. I am Kato. Welcome to episode number 42, WWE Extreme Rules 2022 edition. And before we even get started, before we even jump into the pay-per-view card, man, hats off to Triple H and the job that he's been doing since he's taken over the WWE. Because this pay-per-view is a clear example of his handprints in the change of direction that he's going. Because the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, when it very first was presented, when it very first started, it was a certain type of pay-per-view. And I feel like Triple H managed to bring back the essence of what it meant to have the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. This pay-per-view, every match had its own special stipulation. Every match was good. Every match was meaningful. It wasn't no really throwaway matches or just trying to get talent on the card just to have them on the card. At least it didn't feel like that. So hats off to what Triple H has been doing thus far. Great job. So let's go ahead and jump into the pay-per-view. First matchup, and you know me, the first matchup to me is the match that really sets the tone of a show, especially a pay-per-view. It really leads and it sets the bar for what every other match has to be following that matchup. Of course, you're going to have a few matchups where you're supposed to bring down the crowd just a little bit because they're so hyped up. But this pay-per-view was great, even the way the card was laid out. So the first matchup on the card, we got the Brawling Brutes versus Imperium. Really, really good matchup. And if you know these six guys that's involved in this matchup, you already know their style of wrestling. You already kind of know what it's going to be. And they came and they delivered in a really intense, a really brawling. It was exactly what you wanted from this matchup. And for it to start out the gate, it did a few things for me, right? It really got me pumped up to see the rest of the pay-per-view. It really set the tone for what I'm going to see going forward. And also, it got Sheamus that win that Sheamus really needs to get, man. If Sheamus wants to kind of stay relevant with his name and championships and stuff like that, he needs to notch these wins. Also, for Butch and Rich Holland, it helps them also. I assume these two are going to go into the tag team division and kind of really start to make a name for themselves. So knocking off the trio of Imperium, who also have a really good tag team inside their stable right now, it really just gives a lot of momentum for the Brawling Brutes going forward. And that also delivered on Sheamus, where he can possibly jump back into that Intercontinental title hunt. Maybe not too soon, but at some point in the future, because the matches and the feud and rivalry that him and Gunther have, absolutely top notch. You couldn't really put together two guys who really whose style embodies each other so much. You're gonna get great matches from the guys every time these guys get together. So really great matchup to kick off the show. Now that matchup is followed up by Liv Morgan defending her championship against Ronda Rousey in an Extreme Rules matchup. And this is the match I feel like to kind of bring down the crowd a little bit. It calms you down from what you just seen to prepare you going forward inside the pay-per-view of what match you may possibly get next. I'm sorry, Liv. It was about that time. Ronda Rousey managed to defeat Liv Morgan, knocking her out to get the win. It was a decent Extreme Rules matchup, but honestly, when I say these two women on the card, I don't feel like their style meshed too well, and we've seen them before when they fought, and Liv got the title from Ronda, and the rematch when Liv defeated Ronda again. But I don't know. I don't know if the fact that I'm not too convinced on Ronda's wrestling. Like, some matches you see Ronda wrestle and she's great. She does a really good job. And there's other matches where it's like she no-sells half the time. I don't know if she means to do it, but she no-sell half the matches. And I feel like Liv and Ronda chemistry just really isn't there. Ronda, to me, had the best chemistry so far with Charlotte Flair. So we'll possibly get that matchup again when Charlotte makes her way back to the WWE. Following that matchup, and this is where the intensity picks up again, a really good rivalry, ones that I really have my eye on. Drew McIntyre, Karrion Kross inside of a strap match. And I don't believe that these two are done by any stretch of the imagination. Karrion Kross did manage to defeat Drew McIntyre, but he did have the help of Scarlett. And there's no way I could see someone like Drew McIntyre sitting down and allowing Karrion Kross, who has cost him so much already, to allow him to win that matchup in the feud going forward. with him winning the matchup the way he did with Scarlett. I could see these guys possibly ending up in a cage match where there's no outside interference. And that way, Karrion Kross would have to beat Drew McIntyre clean for Drew McIntyre to finally say, okay, you earned my respect. Let's move on and go our separate ways. We'll always be enemies, of course, but that'll be the only time I could see Drew McIntyre actually bowing out and accepting the loss gracefully. Now, good thing about these two, I like their chemistry together. I like the matchups between these two. I like the feud. I like how they constantly are fighting and bickering back and forth. These are two guys that's not going to back down from each other. So it's kind of like you have two alpha males in a feud locked up with each other, and it's only one way to knock off the other, and that's to probably put the other out of commission. So I could see this feud actually continuing for a little while longer. I don't know how it will end. I'm assuming the cage matchup. I'm assuming Drew McIntyre has to go back on the shelf for a little bit because I feel like they're really pushing Karrion Kross. Now, if you're pushing Karrion Kross, it's like, where are you pushing me to? You're world champion, you're intercontinental champion. They're all heels right now. So I doubt Karrion Kross is going to go forward and get a championship matchup. So I think they're kind of slow rolling it until they can find a way to get the title off the Gunther, and now be the title he'll probably go after next. Next matchup, we got Bianca Belair against Bayley in the first ever women's ladder match. I didn't even realize that. Maybe I'm thinking about Money in the Bank. And of course, it's a ladders and Money in the Bank. So, first ever ladder match between two women for the title. Okay, cool. Bianca Belair, she managed to retain her championship. She managed to fight off Damage Control. I mean, at this point, how can you defeat Bianca Belair? If you couldn't defeat her 3-on-1 inside of a ladder match, I don't see how you can possibly defeat her in a regular matchup. So at this point, I've been saying it for a while, you need to curate another heel. Maybe Shayna Baszler comes to Monday Night Raw. Maybe her and Ronda kind of get back on, this mean streak and this dominance role. And maybe that's the person that can knock Bianca Belair off the top spot for right now, because everybody that they throw at her, not only does she manage to win the match and look good winning the matchup, but she's constantly overcoming some adversity to actually win this match. It's like the only person that can really take it to the limit one-on-one is Becky Lynch. So you have to introduce somebody else, unless you got somebody coming in that we don't know about. You're going to have to turn somebody. And I'm thinking even Shayna Baszler, who's already a heel, or you turn off Asuka and really get her back to that dominant style of Asuka and that dominant style of Shayna Baszler that they were when they first came to the main roster. That's the only way I see it. Now, speaking of the flow of the pay-per-view, it picks right back up. Finn Balor defeats Edge in an I Quit matchup. This was great storytelling. This was great foretelling. I mean, we're going to get so much just out of this feud between Edge and the Judgment Day. This feud has honestly carried us for months, if you're really thinking about it. Ever since Cody went down and he said, look, we need to get another babyface, a top babyface in here to kind of help us out, to kind of like steer the ship until Cody comes. Edge ended up getting, jumped out of Judgment Day, essentially. Now with this feud going forward, this matchup, really good matchup between the two. You're seeing Edge finding himself in a situation where it was him versus the whole Judgment Day by himself. That was until Beth Phoenix came down. She started clearing house a little bit, and we kind of got a nice little tease of what's going to happen going forward. Edge and Beth Phoenix possibly versus Finn Balor and Ronda and Rhea Ripley. Ronda Rousey, that would have been crazy. But Finn and Rhea Ripley possibly against Edge and Ronda. Edge and Beth. Jesus, my name's just all over the place. I feel like that was a match that we've been getting kind of teased for a while now. Edge and Beth versus somebody. It was Miz and Maurice at one point. Now it's looking like Finn and Rhea Ripley. If it's not Finn, possibly Dominic. I would hope it's Finn, because I feel like that would be a much better matchup when you got all four vets in the ring together. I feel like it would just be a much better match between Dominic, who does fine when he's in there with Edge, because Edge can kind of steer him and gear him to where he needs to go. But at the end of the day, Finn, his talent is bar none. So hopefully that's where we're getting to. Now in our main event, this was very interesting actually. Our main event, we got to see Matt Riddle. He defeated Seth Rollins in a fight pit match. I don't mind that. That's Matt Riddle's style of matchup. So I would expect him to kind of have the edge over Seth Rollins. I like how the matchup started off with Matt Riddle actually using strikes and Steph kind of not really knowing what to do. It kind of like showed like, yo, I'm out of my element. Like, there's no ropes. I can't roll out the ring to kind of take a break. I don't know exactly what I'm supposed to do next. So it was great storytelling inside that matchup. Now, Matt Riddle going to defeat Seth Rollins by submission to win that matchup was very interesting to me because it's like Matt Riddle cannot face Roman Reigns. Seth Rollins is going to get a matchup with Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. So what are we doing with Matt Riddle if he's winning these big main event matches? Where can he go next? I don't get it. So I'm not sure exactly why they're keeping the momentum of Matt Riddle up, even though Seth Rollins is a guy who can take loss after loss, and he just doesn't lose his heat. He's that good right now. He's in the zone where it's like, no matter what happens, I can come out, the next night and the next night, and I could talk my way back into the fans hating me, back into the fans wanting to see me lose again. I can do something devious to the point that you want to fight me at that pay-per-view, and the fans want to see him there and see him lose again. So he's done a great job of being a heel, because if you're a heel and you don't need a title and you don't even need to win and you still keep your heat, you've done a great job. So I just really want to know, where do we go with Matt Riddle for the fact that he wins this matchup? This is a really big matchup, you know what I'm saying, in the main event. So what are we going to do next? That's what I really got my eye on, Matt Riddle. Where can they possibly go next? Because it's not Roman Reigns. He already said that he'll never get another shot. And if he's going to jump to SmackDown, maybe we'll get him and Gunther. I don't know. I don't see him fighting Bobby Lashley. So it's going to be interesting. That's where I really want to keep my eye on. Unless we're going to get Randy Orton back sometime and they're trying to continue the momentum of Matt Riddle, so that when Randy comes, you can ride that momentum right into a tag team championship against the Usos. Now, that would make some sense too. Now, at the end of Extreme Rules, this is exactly why I don't watch like the week or two leading up to pay-per-views, especially big pay-per-views like WrestleMania. I'm on no dirt sheets. I'm on no wrestling websites, not on Reddit. I'm not on anything. I'm hardly on social media the weeks leading up to big pay-per-views, because of moments like this. We got to see the return of Bray Wyatt, an amazing return, him paying homage to Brody Lee during his return. That was pretty dope. I loved it. Everything about it. He didn't say a word, didn't have to say much at all. Well, he uttered, one sentence. That's about it. But just the whole return of Bray Wyatt, man, the way it happened, it was like pure magical horror, if you want to like kind of sum it up into what it was. But with the addition of Bray Wyatt, him not really telling why, him not attacking anyone, him not really giving you a direction of why he's back or what he's going to do next in his return of being back, it's just pretty dope. And I like the fact that, you're watching the matchup and then, goosebumps because the lights go off. The cell phones go up. You start seeing all the little buzzers and stuff like that, the rabbit, all that type of stuff pop up, the witch, and then you really see Bray Wyatt comes out. So, amazing way to end off a really great pay-per-view. Now, this is what I mean how Triple H, under his new management that WWE has been putting on shows, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, whether it's the pay-per-view, is leaving you a huge cliffhanger to the point you say, I have to tune into Monday Night Raw. And yes, we know they're going to get to Monday Night Football, so the ratings aren't going to be what it's normally was when they're not going to get to Monday Night Football. But that's just what it is. At the end of the day, if you're a real wrestling fan, it leaves you with a cliffhanger. You're going to come back to Monday Night Raw. I got to see what's going to happen with Bray Wyatt. I got to see the direction that they're going to go in. Or SmackDown, wherever he's going to pop up at. You're going to watch the whole next week because you want to hear what he's going to do. So we finally have Bray Wyatt back in the WWE. I'm really waiting on Sasha and Naomi to come back to the WWE. You got Johnny Wrestling back. You got Candice LeRae back. I mean, oh my gosh. The list just goes on and on. But I just love everything Triple H is doing right now. Really good pay-per-view. Really great way to end off the show. I'm really interested to see what's going to happen with Braun Strowman going forward. I don't know if he's going to be on the same show as Bray Wyatt. I don't know if they're going to really acknowledge each other because Braun has kind of came back in a whole new light. What he's done to his body, what he's done on the independent scene while outside of WWE has been a big change, from the Braun Strowman we're used to, to get these hands Braun Strowman. So it's going to be interesting to see if they even acknowledge each other, which I think they will at some point somehow. But I would really like to see Bo Dallas. It looks like we're going to get the old Wyatt, like Bray Wyatt. We're not going to get the Fiend. So if we can get Bo Dallas with the Fiend, I don't know if Bo Dallas still got it. To be honest, I don't know. Haven't seen him in a while. Haven't seen him on indie circuits, and I haven't really looked for him to say, if he's been killing stuff or not. But how I just remember Bo Dallas and the Bray Wyatt, I always thought that these two should definitely somehow come together and work together. I would love to see Bo Dallas as a member of the Wyatt family going forward, if it's going to be the Wyatt family, because we don't really know what we got. So, hats off, really good pay-per-view. I would love to know what you guys think. Hit me in the comment section down below. Hit me in the DMs, whatever you want to do. Make sure you're following us at The Wrestling Replay, and if you haven't already, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button and turn on your notifications, so anytime I drop a video, you guys will be the first one to be notified. All right. That was pretty much everything that happened on your WWE Extreme Rules 2022. Really great pay-per-view. I will see you guys back here for Monday Night Raw. Hopefully we get some answers to Bray Wyatt and see what's going to happen going forward. And hopefully we get some direction of Matt Riddle and what he's going to possibly do going forward as well. All right, I'm Kato. I'm signing out. Peace.